Haven't made a video about cleaning records in a while, and that's because I have a dirty secret. Pun intended. I'm gonna get chastised for this. I'm just gonna get yelled at. I don't clean my records as often or as well as I should. I always use a dry brush. I love my Audioquest gold brush. I think it's the best I've used. I use it for every play, but that's easy. I don't wet clean my records unless it's a necessity. Like if there's grime on it or if it sounds bad and I think that wet cleaning it could improve the sound, I'll clean it. But most of the time, I'm pretty satisfied with just a dry clean. That is not the optimal way to listen to records, and I should be punished. You know, cleaning them by hand is a bit of a nightmare for me. It's just too much work to make a solution and go and clean it and then leave it to dry. The spin clean, which I know a lot of people use, is still too much work for me. I have a VPI machine, as you guys remember from years ago, which is a great vacuum cleaning machine. Unfortunately, over time, it's a little too much work for me. Vinyl is a hobby. And I think that we lose sight of that somewhat frequently. It should not be something where you're constantly worried about if your records are clean enough, if you're doing everything properly. Like treating it so scientifically brings you further away from the joy that you're supposed to, experience when you're doing a hobby that you love. Now that's not to say cleaning records isn't important, because it absolutely is. But for me, with the amount of records I get in and listen to, it is so cumbersome to clean them all with all of the readily available options I had. So I went the route of least resistance, and I just didn't do it as frequently as I should. I wanted a solution, though, that could stop that lazy, bad behavior. And I found it. The Degritter has solved all of my problems. Now, I'm gonna preface this video with two important notes. The first being that I understand the Degritter is not for everyone, specifically because of the price point. This is really something for people that either have the money to spend, or a store owner, and I'll get into that later, but absolutely essential in my opinion as someone who's about to be, or someone who really invests a lot of money and time in their collection. If you're growing a collection that's pretty sizable and it continues to grow, you might want to slow down buying records and save up for this, because this will improve the quality of your records that you have and all the ones to come. It will pay itself off, and I think this is the best solution on the market despite the price point. The second thing I want to say is I want to be completely transparent with you guys. Degritter was kind enough to send me a machine to check out. I made it very clear with them that I would absolutely give my honest opinion about the machine, how it works, every aspect of it that would not be colored by that fact. They stood by their product, which I respect, and I am elated to say that after spending a few months with it, I have literally no complaints outside of the high price tag, but you do get what you pay for. And let me explain to you just how amazing this machine is. I mean, first off, it's solved for X being how to clean records easily and conveniently and efficiently. I don't want to add a process to my process, and the Degritter has been a game changer, and it's actually a joy to clean records with. Using the machine is absolutely simple. You fill the removable tank to a certain line, and you start the machine and let it prime. You select between a heavy, medium, or quick cycle, and you set the wash and dry times with this awesome LCD screen and these really nice tactile knobs. You put the record in the rubber-coated slot, and then you hit go. You wait as many minutes as you want, usually around 9, and then you have a record that's clean and dry. So this is a copy of Pink Floyd Animals I just picked up from a collection buy for the store. It, obviously, as you can see, a little scuffed, a little dirty. Let's give it a run through the Degritter and see how it goes. All right, let's see how this turned out. There's still a little bit of scuffing, as you can't really get scuffs out, but it looks significantly less dirty than before. Significantly. I'm sure this will play 10 times better. How does it clean? Well, the ultrasonic method is actually pretty fascinating. So the bristles on a vinyl cleaning brush, like a dry brush, aren't able to effectively get all the way into the depths of the groove, efficiently at least. The Degritter uses sonic waves at 120 kilohertz to be able to kind of rattle and use bubbles to get the grime out of all of the grooves. It's kind of crazy. And I'm no scientist. I'm sure there's a video on YouTube that explains the science behind ultrasonic cleaning. That's not what you're here for me. Definitely worth looking into if you're curious about that kind of stuff. So it's really good for the stuff that lingers on the surface that's obvious, but it's also really good for the stuff you can't see, which is what's the most important. And one of the best parts to me is that there's actually a filter built in. So when you're cleaning, it filters out the grime, which is amazing. And I think one of the biggest perks of this, if you're looking for a unit that kind of cuts down on all those extra steps. But you are supposed to change change the distilled water every 30 cleans or so. And I think clean the filter after every, I think it was like 50 or 100 cleans, which again, that's pretty reasonable, I think. So there's another ultrasonic cleaner that came onto the market a year or two ago. It's called the Humming Guru, and I have not had any experience with it. I am also not trying to slander them because I've not used the machine. I did my research before I dove into the world of the Degritter, and what I read was a little troubling, but again, this is all secondhand accounts. These are not my opinions about it because I've never used it. So it doesn't have active filtering, and the drying cycle apparently is not as efficient. Two things that I think are extremely important and help justify the cost of the Degritter. There was one YouTuber who said that it took 3 cleans with the Humming Guru to get as clean as one with the Degritter. So yeah, you're paying a fraction of the price, but you're adding time and effort, especially if you're cleaning records on a larger scale, like a store owner or someone with a massive collection. I think all of that factors into price. The Humming Guru maxes out at 40 kilohertz, while meanwhile the Degritter is 120. So I guess that 3-to-1 ratio does make sense based on very simple math. Also, what I like about the Degritter is they have an SD card slot, which means that you can put updates for the firmware. So it kind of helps future-proof the unit a little better than anything else out there on the market. Is the Guru a bad cleaner? I don't think so. But again, if you're really invested in this, whether you're a professional like a record store owner or a record dealer, or you have like an obsessive hobby like I had before I was a record store owner, I think that all of this is really important to think about when you're making a decision about a piece that is going to be so instrumental to the hobby for you moving forward. I think the most important factor above cost, ultimately is efficiency. I mean, if you look up stuff about the Degritter, you pretty much have everyone singing its praises. Yes, it is expensive, but it is worth it. If I was not in the position I am now, I would have absolutely sold a bunch of grails to be able to afford this after trying it for about a month, because this is just something that's changed the game, and it is noticeable when you clean a record like this that it sounds better than if you didn't, especially a record right out of the package. Modern QC is not that good, leaves a lot of debris in and on the record. This will solve that problem easily. It's just one touch and you're done. You just wait a few minutes and you have a perfectly pristine record. I mean, how can you ask for anything better than that? So if you have any questions about it, I'm happy to answer. Leave a comment below. Again, I know the main comment is gonna be, it's so expensive, but think about how much you spend on records over the course of a year. If you just diverted some of that spending and saved up for something like this, if you plan on being in this hobby for a very long time, this will pay itself off over time, I guarantee it. I think this is one of the smartest buys someone can make if you're really invested in the hobby. And if you just have 100 records and you listen occasionally, obviously this is not for you, and I understand that. I'm not trying to say everyone needs to own this machine, but I think that if you are serious about your collection, or if you're a store owner and you're on the fence, I have not had a better experience cleaning records with any other thing I've tried, and it's because I'm looking for the most efficient, easiest thing, and that's what the Degritter does for me. So leave a comment below with your thoughts. If you guys have used it, I'd love to hear your experience with it. And hopefully you guys can try it out, because I was blown away and I'm continuing to be blown away every time I clean a record. Thank you guys so much for watching. More videos coming soon. Take it easy.